Hello again, Internet. This is Zipper in the Back. Regarding Marble Hornets, entry number 56. Both me and my roommate Nick have just finished watching it. With Marble Hornets, I was content to just kind of laugh at it for a long time. I stopped considering this horror and started considering this grade A comedy quite a while ago, but I've since past the point where I feel sorry for it and am now legitimately getting pissed at it. Basically, Alex leads Tim down to the same rundown shithole we saw him attack people in earlier. Okay, he does actually address
He wants it to be a school.
He wants it to be a school. He's filming in this dilapidated, abandoned building because he thinks it might be a good place to shoot school scenes at. You know, I'm not a director, but quick question. If you want to film scenes at a school, why don't you film scenes at a school?
I'm saying he's a college student. He could just film it in class.
He could film it in class.
Film it at the
All
school.
you have to do is ask permission.
Yeah.
All you have to do is wait for a Saturday. No one will be around.
Yeah.
Okay, somebody is probably going to say, oh, it's because Slenderman is controlling his mind and he's going to lead Tim into an obvious trap. Why does Tim not ask some very simple questions like, who's going to pay for the renovations? Who's going to reinstall the window panes? Who's going to pay for that? Who's going to install the furniture? You have to do something about the broken-ass windows lining the halls. Who's going to pay for that? They say in entry 55 that they're going to have to share gas money just to drive out there. You know what? That's nothing. That's small potatoes compared to the ending, wherein Tim goes to take a leak. You know what? You probably recount better than I do.
He is ambushed with a stick of a size and width that makes it insufficient for anything short of driving, or anything greater than driving away a small dog. This is proposed from being hit one-handed with this very thin, probably brittle stick just off screen, to have seriously injured, knocked unconscious, and or killed him. If you were to swing that thing hard at someone, it's just gonna snap in half.
I used to get my friends when I was around, had to be about 8, 9. We would go out in the backyard. We would find sticks larger and thicker than that, pretend that they were lightsabers, and hit each other with them. They would break, and we would be unharmed. I was really thinking, like, no, they can't be stupid enough to think we're going to fall for this.
He had to hit him in the crotch. He had to just, hey, turn around.
He couldn't have, not unless he was, like, holding his crotch like this. I mean, I was actually going in my mind, like, thinking, maybe this will work if he stabs him with the stick. Like, if he just, like, jams it in his side.
I was really hoping that it was metal. Like, that it was a metal, giant, pointy thing. Like, when I saw it, I was hoping that.
Do you not have the foresight, Mr. Director, to bring a piece of wood to the set, roll it around in some shit to make it look as dirty and grimy and as covered in sawdust as everything else littering the floor in the building, and have that placed on the set, ready for you to pick up?
And you know, it's the choice to use a prop in the first place. Because, I mean, this took place off screen. You didn't even have to, just slightly off screen, you didn't even have to show what he used to hit him with. You could have just shown him walking off that way.
And heard the sounds of struggle.
Yeah.
Yeah. You went out of your way to position yourself such that we couldn't even come up with an alternate explanation of how you could have harmed him with a stick. You showed him over there going like this making this motion with the stick.
You know, I mean, there's pieces of broken glass, pieces of broken metal, bits of
pick up a rock.
You can pick up, yeah.
There were plenty of rocks. There were far more rocks than there were fucking twigs.
And again, this is all happening off screen. You didn't even have to and I'm not a director, I'm not a filmmaker, but I do write. And the minute you show anything, the less terrifying it becomes. And I think this is a prime example of that.
Yeah.
Definitely. You show, if this alleged murder or assault or whatever comes of it happened off screen, it would be, I'd say it would be, if it was the first time looking at it by itself in a white room, suspense building, a potentially, well, a scene, a viable scene to have. But looking at it partially on screen, with it very much transparently revealed what was happened, or what had happened, the effect is very much lost.
The effect is lost. And again, we've seen this before. They must not think we have a brain. Because this reminds me so much of the pussy-ass Boy Scout knife that Jay pulled out to show us. Slowly unfurling it, showing it to the camera, then snapping it back down and putting it in his pocket just to show us that he was armed. It just, yeah, that'll be real handy in the middle of a fight.
You never have time, unless you take the time, but not for a pocket knife.
Not for a pocket knife. Entry number 55, the entry before it, has garnered, let's see, 64,000 views. Entry number 55 was boring as fuck and added nothing to the narrative. All it did was the only thing of any importance it did was establish why they were going out to the rundown shithole, which was a flimsy excuse, but I guess you could just forgive that based on Slenderman mind control. The other reason that we had that entry was to establish that he reveals that he's had problems sleeping and he's had problems with headaches and losses of memory before, indicating that Slenderman has probably been stalking him since he was young, and we have a scene where Jay talks to us through text, telling us, this kind of indicates that Alex has probably been having this problem since he was young. And I'm like, no shit!
The audience could not have figured that out.
The earlier entries, they did a few things very right, creating an atmosphere and shots very similar to the ones in Blair Witch Project.
Oh, that was excellent.
It was good.
They built suspense through imagery very, very well.
But there have been way too many flaws to forgive. Like, the pacing is abysmal. The writing is atrociously lazy. The production is downtrodden. The dialogue is laughable. And they really treat us like we have no intelligence. Like, they really have to lead us by the nose and tell us exactly how we're supposed to feel. It's getting to the point where it's so amateur, it's not even so bad it's good. It's so bad it's bad. Hold on.
There we go. What they were going for, it seems to be, in this one, three things. They wanted to amp up tension, push conflict, and reveal something that had already happened, or build up to conflict. I guess 1 and 2 are kind of part and parcel of one another. They could have done that quite effectively in just a quick shot of the trip up there, some slightly better written dialogue, a quick shot.
Just fill in the time with dialogue.
Yeah. You know, it doesn't have to be. Dialogue is really what you needed to push this thing along, because right now nothing's happening, nothing's being built up, nothing's being ramped up to.
And we're relying on the same stupid plot twist. Did you actually not see Alex attacking him coming? Because I don't think 30 plus episodes in, I think we know that Alex is being mind controlled. How much harder do they have to establish that?
It's thoroughly established.
And it's not like they haven't had time to hammer out the flaws.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, initially, I think what gets people mad is that they haven't improved. I mean, when they first started out, they had some of the same flaws, but they were forgivable. It was really their first time doing this. What they did well, they did very well. It's that it's just been more of the same thing. Nothing's been learned.
Exactly. The problem here is the writing. Like, honestly, I could almost just forgive this fucking stick if this was just entertaining at all. But what all the other Slenderman videos are doing, what all the other series are doing, is they're building clues. They're moving a plot along by introducing plot devices, by introducing new twists that the characters have to investigate, and that is a device that motivates dialogue, which of course will fill up the time space, so you won't have these ungodly
silences where you're just showing backgrounds.
That's the thing the series excels the most in, and has always excelled the most in, is showing backgrounds. But the backgrounds are boring now. They're filler. They're fluff. They're unengaging. And I'm just thinking, if your biggest problem has been your writing, hire a writer. They're not that hard to find. Like, you don't have to get a good writer. You don't have... well, that's...
If I were in your position about 10, 15 entries ago, maybe 20, I would have started building up a dialogue arc where anyone under the influence of Slenderman, if it were me, and I control, I would put in a particular piece of dialogue that each time it's used in an episode or in an entry, people are banding back and forth talking, and each time this has come up, an additional little bit is tacked on to the end of it that makes it more and more sense. And if you're doing this in a series format, if you want to ramp up tension and build up a cliffhanger, drop a bomb at the very end that changes the meaning of that piece of dialogue that you've been building up the whole series. That is how you write and ratchet up tension. I mean, initially, the shots that are for atmosphere, the empty rooms, the forests that you can't quite see what's out there, the audience is looking around, those are good for initially ramping up tension, but you need some kind of substance following that up in order to make it, in order to keep the audience's attention, keep the tension ratcheted up. And you have to switch. You can't just do one thing all the time. You start with, atmosphere, switch back to plot, dialogue, pushing that, and then suddenly, bam, atmosphere again. And suddenly the plot is on hold, and you're like, whoa, what is this? And then you drop right back into it with another big wham entry. But what you've got now, though, is little snippets of dialogue here and there, little snippets of writing, little snippets of plot points that don't really come together in a linear enough fashion to really keep that tension that you did such a good job building up with your atmosphere shots. It's not ratcheted up, it's not on point, and it doesn't feel paced well. And that's how I feel about it.
Well, I think that wraps things up nicely. So thank you, Nick,
Thank you
for coming on to the segment, and this is Zipper out.